I'm gonna start this video with a quote. Gangsters don't die, they get fat and move to Miami. Gangsters don't die, they get fat and move to Miami. That's a quote from Dave East. And the reason why I'm starting with this quote is because this video is about Mar-a-Lago, solely about Mar-a-Lago. Now, this incident from the jump has been inspiring me. I find it inspired. I find everything about this Mar-a-Lago incident beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I have had my eye on Trump since I was a child. He always gave me the no feeling. Always. And I pay attention to American politics. I pay attention to American entertainment, American news, So Trump he's been a figurehead in America for a long time, originally as a mogul, right? He was a mogul. That's how this started. It's not how this is going to end. So, essentially, we all knew Trump before he became the dude for You're Fired. Before The Apprentice, we knew him as the real estate mogul with Trump Tower, definitely knew he had properties in Florida. He had his hands here, he has little sticky fingers there, he was doing all this shit. Turns out he put his fingers in the wrong places, and he basically took homework home with him. Well, as the Daily Show pointed out, it's not homework anymore when you're not the president no more. Okay, so I have some notes written down. Most of this is just going to be a freestyle. I have been thinking about the things that I wanted to say just because I have really been paying attention to this issue quite a bit, and I don't want to get it, it's not that I don't want to get it wrong, it's just I want to hit it boom, on the nail, like target, like bullseye, right? Okay, so I'm going to start with the word ironclad. The word ironclad. The word ironclad basically means, like, there's no way around it, like it's that secure, right? Like, it's ironclad, like, it's for certain. And one thing that was interesting is when I saw the notification, the little Twitter notification pop up on my phone that said, it literally said FBI searches or seizes, I think it's a search, it must have said Donald Trump in there, right? But all I saw was Mar-a-Lago, right? Because to me, I know what Mar-a-Lago is, right? That's his place in Florida, right? Okay, basically, so let's go back to that. So that day, I actually had a bit of an overwhelming day, and I decided I'm turning my phone off. I'm turning my phone off for a couple hours. I'm just chilling. I'm having some me time, right? So I turn my phone off. I shut out the world. Normally when you turn your phone off, you're like, nothing's gonna happen, right? Like, and you think that because you're like, I can take a little break, right? Like, I can take a break from social media or like whatever. The thing is, I am a political scientist fiend. I spend all my money on degrees studying political science. I spend a lot of time reading about, researching, watching, like just interacting with anything politics oriented. I've always been like this. It's just gotten more and more specific, let's say, and on point as time goes on, right? Because you learn as you get older. So anyways, so I see this notification, Mar-a-Lago is not too long after turning off my phone, on my phone, I see this, and I'm like, nah. I'm like, no way. Because I see the word Mar-a-Lago, I see FBI search or seizure or whatever, and I'm like, if they did that, this is what I know instantly, right? If they did that, right now, in this climate, to him, that can mean one thing. Before they went in, they were so certain, zero doubt, right? There couldn't have been any margin of error in this, right? There was zero doubt that they knew that what was there, that they suspected was there, or what was happening, or what he was guilty of, whatever. They knew they had him. They could not have gone into Mar-a-Lago like that if they didn't have an ironclad case, right? So I'm like, this is interesting. So eventually, right, when I'm finally like, okay, I'm gonna check some of this shit out, I go on Twitter and it's like it's like information is spilling in. Basically, we only have information at the beginning from Trump, right? So, because he's so smart, he's so stupid that he didn't take his time to like organize himself after being seized, like having his Mar-a-Lago, a former president's private residence, kind of, but like, his residence seat, like, searched by the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. He is so dumb that he didn't take time to, like, step back and be like, the public didn't know. He told us, right? He created the storm. Because Trump thinks one way, money, right? He thinks one way. How can I capitalize off this? That's how you know he's not a president. That's how you know he's not a leader. That's how you know he was never fit for office, right? Things, they're supposed to be done like in a specific way. That's the thing about politics. He did nothing the right way. I'm sure for the last the 4 years that he, first of all, the candidacy, the 4 years, and then the like, oh, I'm still president, the election was fraud, that bullshit. I'm sure Obama was like ripping out his hair and like, everybody's like, dude, like you're not doing anything by the book, right? So, anyways, he's so dumb, he let us know, right? So we have a field day. He's thinking ratings, money, my name is going up, my stock is, no, bruh. You're crashing your plane. You are your own kamikaze pilot right now. Like, case in point, pro se. I've been planning on making this video for approximately like 48 hours. It's like, you know what? This is actually why I thought to make this video. I was so inspired by this. I released a song called Mar-a-Lago, available on all streaming services. I was so inspired, I released a song. And the thing is, I've been planning on recording, but the way I record certain things, especially things I feel passionately about, I'm like, unless there's a deadline, like it's for some sort of work contract or like, the way I do work and creative work especially is like, I definitely make sure I have all my information before. Like, I definitely watch some news, which is great because I'm about to hit y'all with something I hope you know already. I'm sure the internet knows, but I've stayed off Twitter for a couple hours to do this. Anyways, moral of the story is I create, like, based on a little bit of intuition, but mostly, like, when I'm ready, I'm going to do it, right? Once I've listened to my Cardi B Red Bars a couple of times, once I've, made my notes, once I've gotten prepared, I even did my nails for y'all, like, so anyways, right, so that's how I operate, right? I do things when I'm ready. Trump, he didn't know they were going to seize that day. He didn't know that FBI search was going to go down, but we found out within, like, weren't the FBI agents still there when we found out? Like, that's insanity. Anyways, so that's how I found out. I knew from the instant I saw the words Mar-a-Lago FBI seizure, I'm like, this is going to inspire music for me, right? Because personally, I hate this man. I literally referenced him my first time in a recording studio. I recorded on Charles Hamilton beat. The song is called Real Estate. It is currently on SoundCloud. I might put it out eventually on all streaming services, but right now it's just on SoundCloud. And in the song, I reference something about, I have a line about Trump, how that Trump empire ain't shit to me. I'm Arielle London and I'm in your ears on some Buffy shit, killing all your fears. Third baseman shit. I got the anyways, whatever. Don't matter, the song. Listen to it if you want. But my point is, I've been watching this motherfucker. Now, what you should know about me, which you probably don't, is I do. I'm a writer, right? And I have written for a whole bunch of different publications. I've been very lucky. Not lucky, I work hard, but like, very hard. But like, I've been fortunate and blessed to have had opportunities with some great publications. And, I was writing, had some writing contracts when Trump announced his candidacy. I instantly knew that I had to warn the public. My second degree, my specialization is human rights. I knew instantly two things, right? As soon as I saw this, I'm like, oh no, right? First of all, my brain is trained to think and see in human rights, right? So I'm like, this ain't good. This ain't good for human rights. That's my bottom line. My bottom line is really, like, my core is children's rights, but my bottom line is human rights, right? So I'm like, this ain't good, right? And the second thing I knew was this is not good for democracy at all. At all. This man is not equipped to be president of the United States. That is way too, it just doesn't make sense. Like, this would only make sense to the Republican Party if he was 100% a puppet, because otherwise everyone knows this man is not fit to be president. Case in point, anybody who was a Trump supporter, like, it's okay. Like, I'm being serious. It's okay. You can, like, come around and you can realize that, like, this guy was no good. He was no good for you. He was no good for you when he had his rallies at the beginning where he's like, haha, look at this stadium. This is my friend's stadium. He owns the stadium. He's so rich. Oh, there's my friend over there. Ha ha ha. He's so rich. I literally, for an assignment, had to watch a Trump rally. Now, some writers are not thorough. Some writers see a clip, 2-minute clip, and they go with it, right? All the other outlets are going with it. Me, I'm different. I made a commitment to both myself and you, the audience that does read what I've written over the years. I operate with integrity. Not only did I promise realness and authenticity of myself, but like when I'm giving you information, I'm not giving you shit. I have thoroughly researched this, right? So anyways, I started warning the public a lot in certain ways about like, yo, this isn't good. You know, I'm trying to let you know. And like, I'm sure some people took me seriously, some people didn't, right? They're like, oh, Hillary's emails. I'm like, okay, but she's also been standing at a podium for like the last, I don't know when Hillary came into like the scene, but like definitely since the 90s. She's literally been standing at podiums talking about children's rights for quite some time. Now, say what you want about Hillary. Granted, no politician is clean. None. That's a fact. But, dude, as a children's rights activist, as someone who has, I could go deep, but I'm not going to. I'm going to try not to with this. As somebody who has literally risked their life, had their life threatened, and been in very bad situations because of my defense of children, I know the bravery it takes to get to the places Hillary Clinton has gotten to and speak on this subject matter, right? And choose to speak on this subject matter consistently. Here's the thing. This is what I was trying to illustrate to people before they actually ended up voting for him. The first, original, like the way he got into power. I was trying to point out to people, I'm like, look, like, people in political positions of power, like, you don't have to have a poli-sci degree, right? Like, you don't have to have read every Noam Chomsky book. It helps, but you don't have to have done that. What you do have to have is a record. Your entire life leading up to this moment, something similar like Barack Obama's history, you literally have to have a record. Like, okay, Harvard Law, check. Okay, author of a successful book. He reveals X, Y, and Z information in the book, check. You have to have a community organizer in Chicago, check. Like, you literally have to have experience to be able to say, I'm going to be the leader of the free world. But here's the thing. A lot of people don't care about the experience. What they care about is the power and the money that might come with it, the fame, the notoriety, their name in lights, right? Trump, what's he known for? His name. He puts his name on everything in gold. Trump Tower. You walk onto Fifth Avenue, you see Trump Tower. Like, I remember in Florida, vacationing there as a kid and driving along, I think it was Collins. Damn, it's where the Pinnacle is. It's near, is it the Rascal House? Anyways, Trump, like, he started, I didn't go in, thankfully. I wasn't brought to Trump properties. But I remember driving by and seeing, like, Trump, on the side. So I'm like, this guy, all he cares about is his freaking name, right? Anyways, Hillary made a big mistake. I know why she lost that election. You could blame it on the emails, you could blame it on this, you could blame it on that. No, Hillary, you made a big mistake, and I'm almost angry at you and your team about it, because I don't get how you didn't see this. What was Hillary's slogan? Anyone remember? Anyone put their hand up? I remember. Love trumps hate. Wait, hold on. Yes, that is exactly what it was. Love trumps hate. Now, when Hillary stood up at a podium, talking her, doing what she was supposed to do, she literally had his greatest asset in the middle, free advertisement. His name is Trump, right? It was, I saw what she was trying to do, but she actually shot herself and accidentally the American populace in the foot, right? So, like, be careful with this, right? I'm saying to people who are politicians who might be watching, right? If you're an aspiring politician in the future, don't make that mistake, right? So anyways, and on a side note, on that note, I realized the other day while I was writing the name Trump in a hashtag, R and F are really close together on the QWERTY keyboard. How have we never called him Donald Frump? Can we change his name? Can we just call him Donald Frump from now on? Anyways, I had to say that. So, anyways, he was known for what? A catchphrase. You're fired. And we thought this guy was going to bring jobs to the United States. Nah, the United States is only doing okay right now because of Joe Biden. This whole thing is only going down because Trump is out of office. They tried to impeach him, right? Like, they tried to take him down. The system did, the governance did, the government did, all the institutions, but it didn't work. He had that good of a stronghold. Mitch McConnell, the evil, what do you call those, like, not puppet, what are they called, those things that y'all know what I'm talking about, those puppets that, like, I lost the word. Anyways, something with an M, marionette, or, anyways, those puppets that you make talk, like, that's Mitch McConnell. And then we have Rudy Giuliani. Ooh, I just logged onto YouTube, right? I just logged onto YouTube and I saw something on my home screen. Said something about Giuliani getting indicted. I was like, huh? 7 minutes long with, I think it was Arielle London and a former, might have been a chief of staff, I forget his name, but a dude who used to work with Giuliani in the 90s. Now, I saw that, and I was recently reflecting on Giuliani. I was actually recently reflecting on New York. And I used to go quite a bit as a kid. I actually got my first, like, version of independence as a kid in the United States, not in the United States, but in New York, specifically in Manhattan. My parents were, like, safety freaks, right? Like, I was the type of kid, what are they called? The wrist guards, elbow guards, knee pads, that's how I was rollerblading, right? I'm not really afraid to take a fall because, like, you know, like, I'll do whatever, I'll do wild stuff, but, like, I'm not really probably getting hurt that bad because I've got, my bones are protected, right? Use your proper safety gear, always wear your helmet. Anyways, so in New York, you know, I got to experience this, like, Giuliani, like, New York, where it was, like, supposedly safer, you know, even, it was so safe that my safety, like, crazed, like, you know, parent was like, I'm gonna let you, the kid that I won't even let go to the mall that's, like, around the corner from our house, I'm gonna let you go 5 blocks alone on this street to Sephora. You cannot get off this street. You must come right back to the hotel, right? That was my first experience of, like, total independence. Shout out to NYC. So, anyways, so, you know, Giuliani, he wasn't a bad politician necessarily. He had a good rep in the 90s, right? Like, Giuliani in New York, like, it was a good thing. It was known as a good thing. I'm not saying he was perfect, but it was known as a good thing. This dude who used to work with him, talking to Arielle London, he's like, I hope that's his name, Arielle London. I do like him. I don't always watch his stuff, but I do like his tweets and his hip-hop references. So anyways, this dude and Arielle London are saying all the things that, like, I'm thinking, right? And this guy's like, and I was like, I literally think this before. I'm like, what happened to Giuliani? Like, did he have a lobotomy? And then I was like, before I press play, I'm like, nah, money, greed, right? That's what he saw, money. It's always money with Republicans. You really don't ever have to wonder what their motive is. It's money. If you're a Republican, you are automatically voting with your checkbook, your pocketbook, or for traditional values because you're holding on to a society that don't exist. Tell me something. If everything the founding forefathers and, you know, the people from back in the day said was so important, did those people know about social media? Did those people know about the internet? Did those people know about, like, I could go on. Anyways, so Mar-a-Lago, right? Ironclad. The most boss part about all of this is that the FBI did the right thing. Now, I am not, how do I say this? I am not, I'm a fan of good governance. I'm a fan of institutions working properly, doing their stated purpose, right? When institutions that are supposed to uphold the law or justice don't do that, that irks me. That pisses me off. Because at the end of the day, law, justice, all these things, the baseline, it's supposed to protect your rights. It's supposed to protect human rights. It's supposed to protect children's rights, animal rights, the environment, sustainability, all of it, the climate, you know, the atmosphere. Like, it's supposed to be protected, nature, all of it. That's what good governance is supposed to do, right? But here's the thing. Most people nowadays, or a lot of people, right? Not everyone's a Nina Turner. Not everyone is an AOC. Not everyone is a Bernie Sanders, right? Not everyone's a future Cardi B, because I think, and I hope she goes into politics. Y'all be fucked then. But anyways, I honestly think that, you know, when it comes to Donald Trump, whatever the FBI's got on him, and we can all speculate and we can all, like, you know, get little bits of pieces of information coming out, and I appreciate it. Merrick Garland, you're a superstar, bruh. I love you. I almost took a picture with the dude the other day because he looked like you. I knew it wasn't you because why would you be in Canada? But, like, you know, it was dope. It was that dope. That's how dope you are now. So that press conference was like, whew. It started thundering when literally he came on and then it stopped. I looked outside, it was like clear blue skies. I'm like, what in the devil is happening? So anyways, right, I'm just looking at my notes because I'm enjoying this. I don't know if you can tell. Anyways, so I gave myself 2 stated purposes for this video. Talk about the incident and promote my song. I'm not that good at promoting my music. That was the original intention of this, but I also knew that I just absolutely need to put in my 2 cents and just contribute to this conversation, right? So, the Giuliani thing, right? That was a long tangent. Giuliani, they suspect, by the time I post this, Giuliani might have been indicted in Georgia. That's insanity to me. That's what I just found out before I pressed play. Like, they were talking about that, you know, and his chief of staff was kind of like, or whoever the dude was, I don't know if he was chief of staff 100%, but he was basically like, he used to work with him in the 90s, like, that's not the same dude that worked with Trump. The Giuliani you see now is not the same Giuliani as then, right? And he literally said the same thing I just did. Like, he was seduced by greed, you know? Like, he was seduced by the dollar bill. Dollar bill. Side note, I wore these pants for a reason. You see this, Trump? You see these? See these? See this, homie? That's George Washington. This is the $1 bill. $1 American bill. That's George Washington. He was the first president of the United States. He's on the $1 bill. Like, they celebrate him. You never making it. Your face is never making it on a $1 bill unless the game is called Mar-a-Lago and it's a version of Monopoly where politicians go to jail. That's the only way your face is ending up on a dollar bill. It will never be on legal tender. Do you want to know why? I'll tell you. I think it's Jimmy Kimmel who does the mean tweets thing. Anyways, Obama, years ago, he read a mean tweet, and it said something about, like, Obama's the worst president, or, like, I don't know, something stupid like that. Oh, and I think it was even a tweet from you, Trump. Might have been. And then not Trump, God, that's a mistake. Then Obama looks at the camera, all suave as he is, and he's like, at least I'll go down as a president. No hesitation. But in my head, I'm thinking, war criminal, right? This guy is not, he's not, even if he gets the presidency, he will be a disgraced president. That's what I'm thinking before, right? That's why I'm trying to warn all y'all in, like, 2015, 2016. Anyways, so, yeah, you know, I just want to make a point that, you know, what the FBI has just done, I am not a proponent, necessarily. I'm not someone who's going to put myself out there and say, yay, police. Yay, feds. You know, I'm not gonna do that. But I am someone who will always acknowledge good governance. I follow a lot of great politicians. I follow probably some good institutions too. I don't know. I unfollowed a lot of people as of late. But right now I'm following some pretty dope people. Good governance is when a institution is actually acting on its stated purpose. So, like, for instance, like the police, to serve and protect, right? Like, when the police are beating up people, like, that's not to serve and protect unless they're bad guys, right? Most of the time, we're learning it's not always a bad guy, it's a racially motivated incident, which is heartbreaking because I like good governance, right? But I will always give kudos to anyone who does a good job on anything, right? So, you know, my song Mar-a-Lago is actually dedicated to the FBI, which I never thought would happen, but it did. And, you know, I think something's funny. I think something's very funny. All y'all Republicans were screaming, y'all were screaming Blue Lives Matter, right? When we were talking about Black Lives Matter. You were like, but Blue Lives Matter! Confederate flag, American flag. Kaepernick has kneeled and he's not American. Bro, like, I got news for you. Now they're saying defund FBI. I have some news for you. Perk your ears up, Republicans. GOP, pay attention. The FBI are police. They're a law enforcement agency. They're enforcing the law. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're doing their stated fucking purpose. defund the FBI when they start doing the right things. Yo, and then I think back, I'm like, okay, well, why are they doing this now? And then I thought to myself before, I spilled a drink, and I was like, fuck, I had to clean it up before. I didn't cry over Diet Coke spilt, but don't cry over spilt milk, don't cry over spilt Diet Coke. I didn't cry about it, but while I'm mopping this shit up, I'm like, why didn't they deal with this, years ago, right? And I was like, well, he was president. He was president. All of his cronies were like, haha, you can't stop us. Trump is president. Well, guess what, bruh? McConnell, Giuliani, all y'all should be shaking in your little space boots. You want to know why? Because he's not president anymore. Biden is, actually. He's not president anymore. It doesn't matter how many times you attack the Capitol. It doesn't matter how many fake claims you make about the election being fraudulent. Bro, who would vote for him after those 4 years? Who would vote for him? The greatest thing, I'm so happy that I didn't record this yesterday, because I definitely would have been like, damn, after what happened today. He's representing himself pro se, right? What does pro se mean? To represent yourself, right? To elect to represent yourself, not obtain legal representation. To represent yourself, bro, buddy. Trump, you are another level of stupid. You really are. I checked out that paperwork, that dope tweeter I just followed. He's always posting breaking things. So I'm like, I might as well follow this guy, right? So I click follow. Anyways, I see underneath the tweet where he announced that Trump is representing himself pro se. He's literally because I was like, this can't. I actually kept saying out loud, maybe a minimum of 15 times, 12 to 15 times. What did I say? I think I just kept saying, this can't be real. 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 You have to know, I've been through a lot that supposedly couldn't have been real or wasn't real in my life, because I have an interesting story. But I never said that. Ever. I never looked at something and was like, this can't be real. This can't be real. This can't be real. Literally, I just kept saying it. And I'm like, at a certain point, I'm like, yo, you've said that 15 times to yourself. But it is. I checked the next tweet, and it was a copy of some official paperwork, and it literally said Donald J. Trump versus United States government, and then it said represented by Donald J. Trump. Sir, you are not a lawyer. You are not a lawyer. You have probably never taken a legal course in your life. You've never done moot court. You've never done moot court. Your rhetoric that you use on Fox News, where you're like, fake news, or where you're like, what's your other favorite thing? Very bad guy. Your nursery rhyme language that might have worked when you had your base indoctrinated because they were vulnerable and they thought you were someone else. I personally think, because you pretty much came to, power the same way Adolf Hitler did. It's interesting. I just brought up Adolf Hitler. That's one thing that I kind of stayed away from while he was president. Really, I did it sometimes, but the Holocaust, the way that actually came to be, the way Adolf Hitler actually came into power, and German soldiers were carrying out these horrific, acts of cruelty against Jews, black people, gays, lesbians, definitely trans people, and the mentally ill, and the list goes on. Anyone, or political opponents, anybody who was undesirable, right, to the Third Reich Aryan race type image that Adolf Hitler had. The reason why he came to power in the 30s. That's not too long after the Great Depression. He had a very vulnerable populace, and he seized power. He was a very, my grandmother, who's a survivor of the Holocaust, she was in Auschwitz. She was there the day that it was liberated. She remembers, she was she was young. She was a young girl when she first heard Adolf Hitler on the radio when she came home. And she said in her testimony when she was interviewed by Steven Spielberg's people, she said, she felt she was like, what is this? She walked in, you could literally feel the right? Trump's no different. He literally rose to power by sensationalizing shit, by that rally I watched. You gotta understand, bro. You gotta understand. I used everything in the bank to get that human rights degree in England, right? Everything in the bank. And to watch that rally that I did where he's like, my rich friend owns the stadium and my other rich friend is over there. Literally, he spent, I think it was a 60-minute-ish rally. I waited. I'm like this, right? Because I'm waiting for the notes. I'm waiting for the notes where he's like, when are you going to talk about nuclear non-proliferation? When are you going to talk about your plans for, like, infrastructure, right? Because he had an opportunity. He was a real estate mogul. He could have framed this whole thing in, like, you know, I know how to build. I'm a rebuild America. He did not take none of that because he's not a smart man. He's actually really dumb. He's like, we need to study his levels of dumb. He is, I will take on the U.S. government and represent myself after I'm in this huge mess, dumb. I'm thinking one of two things. One, he's either got really big money issues. Two, no one would represent him. Or three, what's the third one? The third one's not bad too. The third point that I had on that point is, give me a second. Okay, so either no one wants to represent him. He's this close to being institutionalized in a mental ward because why? How? On what planet, dude, do you think you can represent yourself in this situation? Your lawyers, I guarantee you, wouldn't be strong enough for what you're facing. And you think you can do it on your own? Like, dude, no, you are not Amal Clooney. Like, no, sir. No. You can't do that. Like, this ain't gonna work out well for you. So I'm thinking, I also tweeted this, I'm thinking, like, maybe this is his suicide mission, right? Maybe this is, like, go down in a blaze of glory. Maybe this is his kamikaze moment. Anyways, I digress. I'm moving on. The song, right? Okay, so I made my George Washington point. I made fun of him there. I talked about the Giuliani thing. I talked about Pro Se. Ironclad. I think this is all that's left. Yeah, I've like literally made every single point. This is what I'm going to end on, and I'm going to try and close this up quick because we all got things to do, and I've got a dinner to make. So, when I made the song Mar-a-Lago, it was it's a very interesting experience. Like, so basically, here's the lyrics. Oh no, I just ripped it. Here's the experience. Excuse me. I got an email and that distracted me. No, please go away. Thank you. Okay, so these are the lyrics, the original lyrics. I wrote all of this. This is the song, right? This is page 1. It's disconnected. I don't like that. This is page 2, and this is page 3, right? I wrote it by myself. 11 p.m. It just struck me, right? I'm like, what hit me first? Let me look at this. Yeah. That's cute, you gangs bomb me, the hate feels the lie. Guess it must have pissed you off. Here I am, I survived, live my life against a movie. You can't play in my guy. I didn't cast you, you no good. Grab your shit, Felicia, bye, right? That's what I wrote. Yo, that's what inspired it. So that's what came to me, right? So I just started writing. And I was tired. I was very tired that day, I remember. And I was like, you know what? I haven't written in a minute. I knew this incident was going to be... Those sirens, you hear them, Trump? They're for you. You hear them? Okay, so, so I knew that, like, I hadn't written in a while. I wanted to write, but, like, I don't force myself to write, right? So anyways, the song just literally, I finished it. I stayed up till 6 a.m. finishing it. I made the beat as well. I made, like, 2/3 of the beat. And then, one second. So I made 2/3 of the beat, and then I had faith. I knew that I was so on point with this for me, like for what I needed and wanted from the song, my vision. I was like, you know what? These parts of the beat are done. The song is entirely done. I've rehearsed it numerous times. I know the vibe and this and that. I'm going to the studio tomorrow. I'm laying this track because I'm just so passionate. I know my vocals will be great because of how I'm feeling about this. And, you know, I'll finish the beat in the morning. So anyways, I finished the beat in the morning. My studio dude hits me up, my engineer. Shout out to Flyaway Music Media Studios, you rock. I hit up my engineer. No, he hits me up. He's like, yo, can you come early? I'm like, yo, the beat's not even finished, but if I can, I will. Turns out I was able to make it in early because I was that on point. But my phone on Do Not Disturb. And I just worked, right? I rehearsed, I worked. Different parts of the song came to me. I'm like, perfect, this is coming out great, right? Anyways, right. So I leave for the studio. I get to the studio. I get there early because I always go early. And I end up, I can't sit where I normally sit because there's recycling there. So I go to this like path. I go to this path, I go and sit down, I'm about to chill, and then like these bees come out of nowhere. I'm like, fuck, like where are these bees? I can't chill here, can't practice. So I'm like, all right. So I leave the path and I walk out of the path and I see a red cardinal bird. I'm like, huh, red cardinal bird. Those are the dopest birds alive. So I'm like, I haven't seen you since childhood, right? This is a moment we're having. The bird's like, huh. He's just like chilling on the street by the curb, and I'm like, so then the bird flies up into the tree. I cross the street to just watch the bird in amazement. The bird hops up onto another branch, higher branch, but directly above me. And like I've had some unfortunate experiences with birds. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. I'm like, not today, Satan, right? Not today. Not with the red cardinal. That's not today's lesson. So I leave, right? I'm looking at him as I leave, and I leave. Go into the studio, lay the tracks, have so much fun at Fly Away. It's the dopest place ever. So I lay the track, and I bounce, right? I'm out. Actually, I took the photo there, too, that you see. That was that day. That's just what I felt like wearing. And, yeah, so anyways, I come home, listen to the track, make sure it's perfect, make sure there's nothing I want to be changed. And no edits made, no, don't want to go back and, like, fix something. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty confident about this. I actually love every single part. So I put out the song. You guys have actually been really enjoying the song, and I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me because this one goes deep, as you can probably see. I've been talking for 36 minutes and 36 seconds. So, in conclusion, right, on this subject matter of Trump, mostly Trump, but like this Giuliani indictment, like just basically what's going on with law enforcement right now in the United States. We're in a very interesting time in history. This Mar-a-Lago incident is completely unprecedented. Whatever the FBI has, I'm glad they went in because they knew they had it, right? Like they knew they had him. They wouldn't have done this if they didn't. So it's almost pretty much guaranteed that like Trump will probably do some jail time, maybe in like a white collar prison, but like any jail time for Trump is like not bad, you know, but he might be put away for a really long time because we're hearing stuff about espionage. We're hearing stuff about him compromising U.S. Intelligence information. We're hearing a lot of stuff that you cannot do as a private citizen, you cannot do as a public servant, and you certainly, Trump, certainly cannot do as President of the United States. So remember that moment where your nemesis, Obama, remember when he said at least he'll go down as a president? That and the fact that you'll never see your face like this, like George Washington on legal tender, that's going to haunt you. I hope you watch this video. I hope this haunts you because you've been pissing me off my entire life. And I'm going to end on this. Thank you very much for coming to my TED Talk. This is Arielle London saying peace.